Hi, welcome to Bonita's Kitchen and thank you for joining us. Today what I'm going to be making is a delicious rolled mushroom meatloaf. This is a tasty recipe we're going to show you here today. We also got a video and a recipe up there from meatloaf that Raymond put there, and I know you're going to love that one.
One of my favorites.
One of your favorites. Now this one here today, it's got a spin on a delicious meatloaf, but the mushrooms and onions is rolled inside of this delicious meatloaf, and I'm going to show you that method.
You're making me hungry here just waiting for this to cook.
I'm going to show you how to serve it a couple of different ways, and as well we had viewers say, can you show us some mushroom recipes, and this is a delicious one we're going to show you today. So let's get started. So what we'll start with first, a package, 8-ounce package of mushrooms, white mushrooms, and of course you could use whatever one you enjoy. You can also use the canned pieces and stem mushrooms if you enjoy that, or you don't have access to the fresh. Today I'm going to use the fresh ones, and if you see a little bit of, I'm going to say dirt on them, I'm going to get a napkin here, all you got to do is just take the napkin and brush that off. You don't need to wash them. And what we're going to do is cut them in slices. So all you got to do is just cut them in thin slices like this. Again, any little bit of clay or anything on it, just brush that off and then cut them. We're going to be frying this first, our onions and mushrooms, and then I'm going to show you then how to assemble this delicious meatloaf. So after you've cut up those delicious mushrooms, or opened the can, drained off the liquid and used that one, you're going to cut up a medium onion, medium or a large onion, and we're going to dice them up small. Package about a pound and a half of lean ground beef. If you don't want ground beef, you could use ground turkey, ground chicken, ground pork, you name it, whatever your favorite meat is for using. We got about a teaspoonful of salt, pepper, garlic, onion powder. We're going to be using butter and olive oil to fry the mushrooms and onions. So let's get started frying those mushrooms and onions. Put your frying pan on a medium heat, a drizzle of olive oil or oil of choice, and about a teaspoonful to a tablespoonful of butter or margarine, and let that heat up. So now we're going to toss in there our chopped onion. I'm using a medium onion there, and about a half a teaspoonful of the pepper. I'm not going to put any salt on it right yet, so I don't want to pull off any of the juice from the onion. So let that start frying till it starts to soften. So after it starts to cook on one side, just mix it up. And then we're going to toss in those delicious mushrooms. We're going to get these frying together. And then we'll season them with some salt and of course whatever seasonings you like. So now while our onions and mushrooms is over there filling the love, I'm going to put the ground beef into our bowl, add in the seasonings. I'll show you what those are, and get that mixing together. So I'm going to be tossing in the other half of the black pepper or white pepper, and a half a teaspoonful of sea salt, keeping a half of it for our mushrooms and onions, and about a teaspoonful of onion powder. And we're going to be using 1 clove of garlic. You could use more if you wish. And I'm just going to press that on into the mixture, the meat and the seasonings, and toss in about a tablespoonful of the Worcestershire sauce. And of course I got that set wrong. That's okay. And mix it together. So just mix it together till all those delicious seasonings is all incorporated, not over mixing it because you don't want to toughen up your meat. And then I'm going to get a piece of parchment paper or a piece of wax paper, whatever you got. Toss that out onto the parchment paper. So the reasons for putting it on a piece of parchment paper, what we're going to do now, we're going to roll out this mixture. So I'm going to put another piece of parchment paper on the top, just so that my rolling pin is not directly onto that fresh ground beef. And we're going to just roll it out the size that we need. Keeping checking and then poking the meat in just to kind of, I'm not going to say square it off, but just make it that it's a longer, you know, rolled out. I'll get it for you there now in a minute. I'm listening to my mushrooms and onions fry over there, and it's delicious, eh? Yeah, you smell that, isn't that nice?
Yeah, sounds good.
So pretty much that's all you need to do there. It don't necessarily have to be fancy.
Yeah.
And now I'm going to toss the mushrooms and onions to see what they look like. Oh man, it looks delicious. And I'm going to show you that now in a moment.
The smell is unbelievable.
It smells delicious.
Yeah.
I know I could have put my damper here, but we're doing the back damper today. This is pretty much all you need to do there. Again, you can add more seasonings, what you like. Anything that you enjoy using in your meatloaf, or just seasoning over your meat of any type. Now I'm going to get those mushrooms and onions and season them with some salt. So all I'm going to do is just toss that teaspoonful of salt over there. You can taste it at this point. If you want some more seasonings, that's fine. We don't need much more than this. Now I'll show you what's next. Now our mushrooms and onions are fried, and of course looks amazing. I'm just letting it just cool down a little tiny bit there before I spread it out over this meat there. But I got myself a meatloaf pan. But if you got a pan just similar like this, of course, all raggy, stained up from cooking and baking bread, which I find that makes it more seasoned. If you don't have a meatloaf pan, take a piece of parchment paper and just pull down over the pan and put the meatloaf into. But for now, I'm going to show you what we're going to do with the mushrooms and onions. So now what you're going to do is toss out the mushrooms and onions over this lean ground beef or meat of choice, and get it where it's kind of even. It's going to fall out a little small bit. You could use all of it, or you can keep some of it to serve with whatever you're going to serve this with. And then, closest to you, you're going to start rolling it with the parchment paper by bringing it up and folding it over just like this. And keep going like that until it's rolled. So folding the parchment paper down and then going again, folding it over. And keep rolling it like this, pulling it towards you so that you got full control over it. You'll see that the mushrooms and onions is popping out. Don't worry about that, because all of that's going to be combined. Just tucking it back in. And it looks like this. So the remainder of the mushrooms and onions, just tuck it in through the side. And what I was saying about parchment paper, just put it down into your pan if you don't have this insert, and then put your roll down onto it. Now in my case here, we got this nice nifty little insert here, which I'm going to slide my loaf, or rolled mushroom meatloaf, onto. And then after you got it onto your pan or the parchment paper, it's going to look something like this. I'm going to put it into the pan. I'll show you that in a second. I'm going to get rid of this paper, wash my hands, and then I'll show you what it looks like in the pan and tell you how long you need to bake it for. Okay, so now I'm all washed up. I'm going to put another little small amount of salt and pepper over the top of my meatloaf. my rolled mushroom meatloaf, and I'm going to be putting it in a 350-degree Fahrenheit oven for 60 minutes or less. This is only about 1 pound to 1.5 pounds of ground beef. So if you're making a bigger meatloaf, you can gauge it if it's got to be longer. So when that's baked, I'll show you what it looks like, and I'll also show you how I'm going to serve mine tonight, and I'll show you 2 different ways. So meet me back here. Our rolled mushroom meatloaf is baked. Now I'm going to show you what it looks like. Delicious. Now this is what it looks like. Of course it was only about 1 pound to 1.5 pounds for the meatloaf. Now I'm just going to toss it now out here onto my serving plate and cut it and show you what it looks like. So delicious. So what I'm going to do now is cut off a nice piece here to show you what it looks like. And today I am going to be serving this meatloaf with some pasta and some vegetables, mashed potatoes and green beans, gravy, sauce. Just look how delicious. Now just look how juicy this delicious rolled mushroom meatloaf is. Now let's plate it up. So of course I'm going to be serving this today with mashed potatoes and green beans, pasta over on this side. I got some sauce here, gravy. I got gravy that was left over from my Jig's dinner. So now I'm going to show you what this looks like. I'll plate it up. Now I bet you don't know which one is Raymond's here today. I'm sure.
That's too funny.
Hey, I'm sure you're going to figure this out.
Yeah.
This was the leftover mushrooms and onions. I'm going to put a couple on top of this one. And what do you think, Raymond? Which one?
Well, I wouldn't mind having the pasta, but I'd like to have gravy, and I don't know if gravy really go over pasta, so I think I'll just take the potato.
Okay, so Raymond's already decided he's going to have the gravy over his meatloaf and the potatoes. And I'm going to have the one that got the pasta. And I'll top this here now with a little bit of salt and pepper just to garnish it. Some Parmesan over this side one. And of course, you can't not have a little bit of green onion. Now what do you think of this?
Looking good.
Rolled mushroom meatloaf with 2 different servings, and I will share more with you.
Let's get started.
So now what do you think of these meals today? I mean, so easy to make this recipe, and of course filling, very filling. Not much leftovers, because if you're like us, this is something that you just can't stop having more of. You can also serve this one with a cream sauce, a mushroom sauce, fettuccine. Oh my gosh, so much. I'm gonna have a little taste. So good. I cannot tell you how good this is. I don't even have any sauce over it, but with the taste of the mushrooms going through, the onion, and those flavors, 2 thumbs up by Bonita's Kitchen. Now that I got my mouth empty, if you like this recipe and you like a copy of it, it'll be posted down here under this video. Also, we'll share it on our website, www.bonitaskitchen.com, and you can pop by and visit us at Bonita's Kitchen on our Facebook page. We'll also share it there. We're not going to take up any more of your time. We know it's precious. So on behalf of myself and Raymond and our team here at Bonita's Kitchen, thank you once again for joining us from our kitchen to yours. And you have a wonderful day. And don't forget to join us again on Bonita's Kitchen.
kitchen to yours. Bonita's kitchen. Bonita's kitchen is